Good afternoon, guys. Firmbie with you, and welcome back to Car Mechanic 2015. I almost said 2018 there, didn't I? Oh goodness, I think we're so interested and so into trying to get 2018 that almost with a Freudian slip there. Return to garage. Quick shout out before we get into today's stream. I'm probably looking at streaming for about an hour and a half, see how the time goes, but. As you can see by the thumbnail there, this is actually a live shout out, a live stream shout out. So look, just comment in the chat while we are live and tell me about your channel. And look, I'll add your channel link to the description after I've finished in the stream there. So that's all it's about. It's promoting ourselves, promoting each other. And so yeah, just comment in chat. I'd love to hear from you. Look, if you want to chuck us a subscription, that'd be great. If you don't want to, that's also fine. I'm not too fussed, but today's all about you. It's all about getting your name out there. And as I said, all you need to do is just chuck your description in the chat, who you are, what you do, whether you're on Twitch, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're some sort of content creator. Let me know about it. Love to hear from you. And we've already got in chat Christalade. And thank you very much on the congratulations of 100 subs. I actually was just about to talk about that while we'll take a couple of jobs here. Actually, I'll tell you what. I'll mention that right now while we've got the black screen of death. I really want to put it out there. Thank you for these some fantastic people that have subscribed in the last, well actually there's a heap that have subscribed in the last 24 hours, and it actually has kicked me over to the 100 subs. So I'll tell you what, no better way to celebrate that. It's a word I'm looking for. Let's celebrate that by going to the strippers. What do you reckon? I think there's absolutely no better way no better way to celebrate a 100 sub milestone is to head off to the strippers. You left on TeamSpeak. Yeah. I just jumped off on TeamSpeak. I thought I'd just try to concentrate on the chat for the moment. So yeah, more than welcome to hang out on chat. That'd be fantastic. Look, I want to give you a bit of a shout out to some of the guys that have subbed in the last 24 hours. As I said, I really do appreciate it. Look, and you have to excuse me, and my apologies if I absolutely butcher your names, but shout outs go to Ken2 FNT. I think that's how you pronounce it. Again, apologies if I absolutely butcher that. The extra, Jeremy Burnett, as we come over to our strippers, and we'll start taking these parts off while I'm listing these names off. Jerry Burnett, thank you very much for subbing. Again, really do appreciate you dropping by. And guys, if you've got a content creator link and you like it plugged, then by all means, I'm more than happy to. Occulto AU has also subbed just recently, which is fantastic. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. EPG Panda. EPG, look, you are absolutely awesome and now one of the cool kids for subbing. I always say that I do enjoy people dropping by and hanging out, and yeah, and as it's saying in chat, they're just chillaxing, just hanging out. It's awesome. So EPG Panda, I appreciate you dropping by, and I appreciate you subbing there, brother. Christopher Lamerex. Sorry, man. I'm sorry if I got that wrong. But Christopher, again, I appreciate you your subbing, and as the graphic often says when we are live, you're now one of the cool kids, man. You're now one of the cool kids for subbing. So Christopher, again, I appreciate your time and effort to subbing. It does mean a lot. Side Smash 12. Look, Side Smash is only just a recent addition, but again, very appreciative of you dropping by. It's awesome that you took the time. So Side Smash 12, I actually do like that name. That's pretty cool. Side Smash, I appreciate you dropping by. Hopefully you enjoy your Car Mechanic 15 content, and when 18 comes out, we'll hopefully we'll learn 18 altogether. So that's side slash 12. All these guys, just go and check out these channels, guys. If you enjoy your car mechanic content, or just like to check out some up and coming content creators, go and check out some of these guys, because look, if they're good enough to drop by and chuck us a sub, then look, they're good enough to go and check out. So in my book, so thank you very much for your patronage and dropping by. Stealthy Shadows V94, Stealthy Shadows, you're an absolute legend, man. I appreciate you dropping by, I really do. Okay, it might not mean much to many people, but again, I do appreciate it. It means a lot that you enjoy the same content that I do. So, Stealthy Shadows, you're an absolute legend. Next legend, of course, is Just Gamers. Just Gamers have just subbed just recently, and one of the people that have was kind enough to kick me over the 100 sub list. So Just Gamers, I thank you very much indeed. You're an absolute legend, and now one of the cool kids for subbing to this very, very small channel. And I'd like to think we're a bit of a family here. It's something that we enjoy. Not only car mechanic content, but things like Astroneer, World of Warships, things of that nature. There's a number of Sims games coming out on Payway. If you haven't seen those already, those might be worth checking out. But the take-home message is, that's what this channel is about, is finding like-minded people and sharing that same passion that we have. So Just Gamers, you're an absolute legend for dropping by and giving us a sub, man, so I appreciate it. Krition, did I pronounce that right? You'll have to correct me in chat there if I've pronounced that wrong. Or Kriton? No, it wouldn't be Kriton. Sorry, I'm terrible with people's names. I will give you the big tip. So, look, apologies if I butchered your name. I'm terribly sorry, but I am very appreciative of you subbing to this channel. It really is fantastic that you've taken the time and effort to, again, come and share in some of the content that we enjoy, or that I enjoy. And I truly hope that you do enjoy it and you stick around. There's some great things happening, not only on this channel, of course, but across the gaming world. As I was saying, is that some pretty cool Sims games coming out recently. A lot of games not a lot of games, a few games I do play with the gaming community. Some of these things that I mentioned, guys, is what I think of it is that they are listed in the. I must put that on the lifter. Okay, they are listed in the description below. And what I was going to mention about is the gaming community that I've been involved in and involved with for quite a long time. Thank you very much, Crit and Ion. Critical, like critical. Crit Ion. Did I say that right? Kriton. I told you I am terrible. But having said that, I mean, a lot of people don't get Firmbie right too. So I mean, I can understand the frustration when people don't pronounce your name right. But I mean, I actually get that in real life too. So my name in real life is unusual, and so I'm totally used to it. But Kriton, did I get it right? But thank you very much. Again, thanks for dropping by too. Appreciate you dropping by while we're doing this. Bit of a milestone, as I was saying. Not only is it a live stream shout out, number 4 actually for our live stream shout outs, and as I was saying, that's if you do drop down in the chat and put your name in there and chat, tell me a bit about yourself, whether you got a YouTube channel, whether you got Facebook, whether you got a Twitter, Twitch, whatever you're into. Tell me a bit about yourself, and I'll put your details or your link to those details in the description after we finish. Close enough, you say. I'm sorry. I really am very apologetic. We'll have to actually get on to... whoops, I missed a piston, didn't I? We'll actually have to get on like a TeamSpeak or a Discord sometime so you can actually tell me how to pronounce it, because it really does worry me that I don't pronounce people's names correctly. So please accept my apologies until I actually find out how to pronounce it correctly. The other couple I wanted to give a shout out to also is a couple of people that have subbed recently between our last stream and this one is the MC team. I'm again very appreciative that you dropped by and decided that you wanted to sub to my little corner of the internet. What am I missing here? Rear bumper. And the last but not least, for this list at least, try saying that really quickly, as Leopold Gamers. Leopold just recently subbed, and we need to go back to the garage. Leopold Gamers just recently subbed, like literally 10 minutes ago, just before I come on live. So actually, there's a bunch there that actually subbed just before I come live, and I had the OBS studio up and running, ready to click the live button, and yeah, had quite a number of people that come up on the OBS, but I just wasn't live quick enough to catch them. So my apologies in regards to that one. But again, look, thank you very much for deciding that you want to watch little old me and visit this little corner of the internet. And I wish this black screen of death would hurry up with this car mechanic. But I said there's a whole bunch of... And that's phone's going off, hasn't it? Where's a secretary when you need it? Let's have Captain Cook here. A lot of parts... excuse me. A lot of parts are absolutely knackered when we come back from the strippers. Actually, what we might do is just sell the recovered parts. I know, I should have looked at how much we got. What I normally do is, for those who aren't aware, bring your parts over to the repair table and obviously repair those up to whatever percentage value that you want, and you're able to retain those. For later on. Kriton says Kriton. Every time I look at that your name, man, I know I'm going to say it wrong. But you're saying that it's nice for everyone to sub. You're absolutely right. It is so nice for everyone to sub. I'm surprised, to be honest, in the fact that people want to listen to me ramble on and basically talk to myself, and the other one is interested in the games I'm interested in, which is absolutely fantastic in my opinion. Let's see what we need for this particular repair. Repair the parts exceeding minimum condition of 83%. So one should actually write down, so one doesn't have to look at the screen all the time. One should write down the percentage that he needs is 83%. And the other one should do is stop referring to one as one. Find and fix any running gear problems. None of those have been discovered as yet. We'll run that through the test path in a minute. A lot of those people we might be able to fill up, find rather. Car is hard to control. Look, thank you very much for dropping by. I do appreciate it. Hey, if you're heading off, you go and do what you need to do. But yeah, no, that's awesome, and you've been part of the journey as well. So no, look, thank you. It is awesome that you drop by, and it's awesome that people stay long enough, A, to get to 100 subs, and B, to enjoy the type of content that I enjoy. So the credit needs to go to yourself and people like yourself. So Sally out. Catch you later, man. Cart is hard to control. Need to find those parts. Body parts we can do in a moment, and spray in factory colour. So we'll do those body parts and spray in factory colours. First of all, over to our parts, and we're looking at an 83% repair value, aren't we? So let's get through those. 92 and a 93, which are going to be fine. Let's whack those back on the hood. There's nothing else in the front here. Now I do have to remember that Christalade is actually Sully. I suppose there's a helpful hint for us today is that if you like to be recognised, especially across multiple platforms, it's quite advantageous to actually have the same name. But some people don't, and that's cool. I understand that, but you'll find that you'll get recognised a lot quicker if you have the same name. Paint shop. Let's go to the paint shop. No, I got nothing. I can't sing. Don't even bother. Don't even try. Choose factory colours by default. Paint car. Do you want to paint the car for 500 bucks? Yes, I do. Thank you very much. Get that sticky paint on that car. Back to garage. Okay, so we should have green lights on the fix of the body parts, which we do indeed. Spray with factory colours, we've got a green light there. What we will do is move it to the test path, and which is over here. And a lot of those parts that are actually undiscovered at the moment, we should be able to discover a lot of those through the test path. Press and hold brake. Now this is, speaking of brakes, I am holding the brake, you silly machine. Okay, speaking of brake, there's now as good a time as any to have a sip of this coffee. Now if you have just joined us, or you're watching this on replay at a later date, this is our live stream shout out number 4 in fact. We're up to number 4 already. But the idea of the live stream shout out is anyone that drops by tells me about themselves during the live stream in fact. Whether you got a YouTube channel, whether you got a Twitch channel, you got a whatever you got, look, whatever content that you wish to promote, then just give me a shout out in the live chat, or give us a message in the live chat. Tell me who you are, what you do, what you create, something that you like promoted, and then I'll add that link in the description down below after we've finished going live. So it's that simple. Drop into chat while we are live, and I'll give you a shout out in the description. Of course, I'll give you a live shout out too when you do drop by it, but I'll put your link down in the description after the stream, of course. Examine report after going off the test track. Suspension arm B, shock absorber, rear suspension, front. A lot of suspension issues. Okay, that gives us a good target. Let's go to the right lifter. A little bit easier. A lot of people go to the left. Yeah, care factor. Doesn't really matter. So yeah, by going through that test path, that does enable us to have quite a number of those parts that we need to look for. Still need to find some of those parts. Well, I think the best thing is just to dive in. So that's all we need, isn't it? Hard to control. We actually haven't found any of those hard to control parts. Look, let's dive in, start pulling stuff off and see what we can find. As I was just saying, if you've just joined us, and this is a live stream shout out, and yeah, just put your details down in the chat window while we are live, and I'll leave a link in the description after this stream has finished. And that's what it's all about, is helping each other, promoting each other, whether you got a YouTube channel, whether you got a Twitch channel, whether you got a Facebook, Snapchat, look, whatever you're into. I really don't mind. That actually looks, those ventilator looks okay, don't they? Yeah. So we might just leave that as is. We should be able to find a lot of this, because a lot of it's actually hidden behind these wheel hairs and associated to your suspension stuff. So that steering rack needs to come out, as does those front sway bars. So we get these front sway bars out. This shock absorber assembly, that cap needs to come off. That shocker should be okay. Unknown conditions. Look, we're here. We might as well get it out. I think that's going to be fine. Shock absorber at 84, just fine. And that spring is 85. He's going to be fine as well. So spring in, absorber 84, wasn't it? So what I'll do is put that back in because I know that's meeting or exceeding the 80. Disassemble that one, meeting the 83% that we're looking for. So just to not confuse the issue with one, if they are going to be fine, I'll just put those back in. Steering rack, he needs to come out. He looks a bit shattered. He's more than shattered. He's at 23%, so he's certainly going to need some love. Pop down the end of the back end here, and let's look at this rear quarter. Number of parts that look completely shattered there. So let's keep diving in to get these calipers and brake pads off. Brake discs are going to be fine, I would think, at 86. Yep, but all this snot in here is certainly going to need some love. Rear spring's going to be fine. Sway bar rear end link, he's going to be knackered. The spring cap and the rear suspension arm are going to be fine, but we need to actually get that off to get this rear axle knuckle housing. Yes, I had it right in the first place. So some of these parts, as I said, we just need, they're going to be fine, but we just need to take off just so that we actually get to this suspension stuff at the side here. Looks like we're going to have to do exactly the same on the other side too. Do the rear suspension arm on the other side. It's all greyed out and look a bit rusty, so I need some loving over there as well. Now, speaking of loving, for those who weren't around when I was at the intro, my sincere thanks go to a number of people that have subbed and that have just kicked me over to the 100 sub mark. So my hats off, high fives to all those who have subbed just recently, and in fact there's a group of people that subbed in the last 10, or let's call it 20 minutes ago, for argument's sake, because I've been streaming for, say, look, about 10 minutes, so let's say about 20 minutes ago. Turned on the OBS getting ready for this stream, and then quite a number of subs just rolled in, which is fantastic. I will see if I can list them out very quickly without butchering everybody's name. So we have Ketu FNT, the Extra, Jimmy Burnett, Okolto AU, EPG Panda, Christopher Lamerix, Side Smash 12, Stealthy Shadows V94, Just Games, Krition, the MC Team, and Leopold Games is all the people that have just subbed recently, which enabled me to pop over the 100 sub barrier, and I really can't express sort of how thankful I am for you guys for doing that and hanging around, which is awesome. We're starting to create quite a dedicated community, and that's what it's all about, is helping each other out and being as helpful as we can. And if someone's having a bit of difficulty in a certain area, then we want to hear about it. We would more than happy to help you out. And basically, if I can't find an answer for you, then I'll find someone who can find an answer for you. So, and as I said, that's what it's all about, is enjoying the games that other people enjoy. Hanging out with like-minded people. So it looks like we actually found the car is hard to control parts, which is pretty awesome. The outer tie rods, sway bar front end link A's, and the sway bar rear end links. It's another one I just can't get my tongue around sometimes. Sway bar front end link A. It's not that difficult when you look at it, is it? Don't know. Sometimes the tongue just doesn't get around some of those parts. Now we're looking for an 83% repair value, so this is the part where it actually gets a little bit noisy, so be warned. If you're wearing headphones and got them up pretty loud, then it may get a little bit noisy for you, but 83% is a number. There's rear drive axle, in fact, is 83%, so let's stop there and see what we've got left in our inventory, sorting by condition as we always do. Now some inner and outer tie rods was certainly on the list, weren't they? So 2 outers and 1 inner, easy done. Tie rod, 2 outers I said, wasn't it? 2 outers and 1 inner, Add it in here. Nice, nice, nice. Nothing in the gearbox, nothing in the exhaust. Brakes certainly exceed that 83% expectation. A lot of running gear, so let's go front, because there's front springs and front shockies. Yep, one front spring and 2 caps. So let's start with that. Let's go over to a tablet and go front. One front spring and 2 caps. Front spring, cap, cap. Front end link A. Front end link A is what we're looking for. 2 of those. Back to inventory and let's get rid of those. Front shock absorber, 91% here, certainly exceeds our 83 expected repair value, so we can leave him alone. To narrow it down, let's go rear. And once again, we've got 2 caps and a spring for the rear section. Rear. 1 spring, 2 caps. 1 spring, 2 caps. Rear suspension arm and rear suspension arm B. Okay, so that should come up in the rear section, obviously. Rear suspension arm and rear suspension arm B. There we go. And sway bar, rear end link, 2 of those. Rear axle knuckle. Didn't we not have some rear axle knuckle housing A's? There we go. We have. So we don't have to buy any. Let's get rid of that. He's at 83% and our expected repair value is in fact at 83, so let's not touch that. Wheel hub bearing. Wheel hub bearing, one of those critters. I didn't even look whether we actually had any in stock. Let's just check. Wheel, too many E's. Wheel hub bearing. No, we didn't, because that's the one we just bought. And just checking by all. What have we got? A 6% starter there. Unless that's left over. Oh, unless that's left over from. Let's get rid of that. I'm pretty sure we didn't actually take the starter out. Let's get some of these parts in, and we'll make sure that we. I'm pretty sure I didn't take that starter out. It was just suspension parts from memory. Yeah, it was pretty well just suspension parts. So I didn't actually take the starter out. So my guess is that's one of those parts that it wouldn't have been left over from the strippers because we sold all those. Oops, get there, camera. The cap can go on there, the sway bar in there. Ooh. Nothing else on this side, perhaps. Nice looking rims, actually. I think a lot of those parts would go on this side, wouldn't they? A lot of these we had to take off to get to the things like the rear axle knuckle housing A. But I'm just taking a little bit of notice, probably not as quick as I'd normally am, but I'm just taking a little bit of notice, making sure these percentages are all fine as I go back. There's nothing worse than that, you get to the end of it and it says no, your repair is not completed because there's a part there that doesn't exceed their expected repair value. So just taking my time with it, and that's not a bad idea either. It's not how fast you play it, it's how you play it. A little bit philosophical, isn't it? So as I was saying on the intro there, if you've just joined me recently, it's a live stream shout out. It is in fact number 4. The 4th live stream shout out, if I'm not mistaken. That, oops. Disassemble. Is that okay? 85, that one was okay. Yep. What I was alluding to is that the idea of this stream is if you create content on some sort of platform, look, whether it's YouTube, Twitch, whatever, and you want to have a little bit of exposure, in mind, a little neck of the woods, neck of the interwebs, then yeah, just chuck down a comment in the live chat window. Tell me about yourself, what you produce, what you do, who you are, and I'm more than happy to put your link in the description once we finish this stream. So don't be shy, just put it down in the stream there, and more than happy to give you a plug at the end of the stream. Speaking of which, and I haven't actually done that this time, my apologies, is to send a tweet out to people that I am actually going live. So normally I do that just so that you know when I do go live. So if that's something that does interest you, then the link is in the description below if you want to be informed when I do go live next. Now sometimes it can be car mechanic, it might be World of Warships, it might be Astroneer. Really depends on how I feel, quite honestly, and really depends on you guys. If you want to see a particular game a little bit more than others, then I'm more than willing to accommodate. I was actually only asking last stream, if I'm not mistaken, as to what sort of content people like to see. Why can't I click on that? Thank you very much. That's what I wanted. Only asking people last stream of the type of content that they'd like to see. And yeah, I'm not saying I'm going to go out and buy all the games, just so you know, if people, you know, 4 people say 4 different games, I'm certainly not going to go out and buy all those games, but if there is a common denominator with them, then I'll certainly be looking at that. Speaking of looking at, let's look at their Salo and Spectra. Find and fix running gear problems, green lights across the board. I won't read out all of those. Car is hard to control, green lights across the board, there's no problems there. Find and fix body parts, well, we did that right at the start there. And spray and factory colours, pretty straightforward, we did that right at the start there. So all meeting or exceeding the 83%, and which gives us a grand total earned of $7,190. Nice chunk of cash. So what are we thinking? Those who are in chat, what are we sort of thinking? We'd like to do a restoration, we'd like to continue on with doing these repairs. So until I hear anything in chat there, I'll actually continue on with these repairs here. So we'll actually take the job for the Royal Crown, which is experiencing brake problems there. Look, I haven't worked on a DeLorean for some time too. They're pretty cool to work on, although they're a little bit different to these guys. They got rear wheel, rear engines, and so we'll take that job there. Like so, and let's get over to the right lifter. Oh yeah, just pop down in chat there what you'd like to see, whether it's the full restorations, which take a lot longer of course, and sometimes we can get through them in one stream, and others that we have to stretch it over a couple of streams, really depending on sort of how things are going, whether people are actually engaging in the chat there, and or things are pretty quiet. It really depends on you know, what neck of the woods you are in too, and whether you're awake or whether you're asleep. So brake problems, 76% is our magic number at the moment. So doesn't take a genius to work out brake problems is brake pads, brake shoes, but don't forget about the ABS too. So that's one of the first things I will check when it comes to brake problems. If they're not identified when you first get into it, just pop the bonnet, ABS module and ABS pump, obviously part of the brake system. So that's one of the first things I would check when it comes to brake problems. Now, just looking through those rims there, as you can see, that caliper there is certainly knackered. I was going to say a bad word then. It's certainly no good, and so we'll need to take that caliper straight off. And let's see what that at 15%. So he's no good. Brake pads can come off. Ventilator. Wonder whether we can. Yep, down the bottom left hand corner, 85%, so he is going to be fine. Come over to the other quarter, the other side here, and see what else we can have. And again, that is, see straight through the rim there. Brake calipers are no good. Ventilated 81%. Let's put that ventilator back. Why have we just come up with? Did it not say brake ventilated 81%? I'm going to have to look at that footage after, because I could have sworn that brake disc ventilator come up with 83%. That's why I was just about to put it back on. So, unless I read that wrong, which is more than likely. But either way, you can see the that ventilator come up afterwards with a lot lower percentage, so it's going to need some love. Brake pads. Let's see, at 84, it's going to be fine. And he's at 85, he's going to be fine. So, into the other rear quarter here. And on this particular quarter, the calipers are going to be fine, but the brake shoes and brake discs, that should just about be all of it, if I'm not mistaken. ABS pump, brake calipers by 3, a disc, a ventilated, and 2 pads. That's everything. So we're looking at an 76% value. So over to our repair table, and 76 is what we're looking for. And see how many things we actually break. 77. So we'll leave that at that. Back to our inventory little section by condition, as we always do. Now, just to narrow it down, not that we need to, but we can just type in brake, and it'll actually not only list the components that are no good, but it also lists any parts that we've got in our inventory, which may have saved us a couple of bucks. But that's an 80%, that's an 84%. So there's no problems with the calipers there. So 2 pads, a disc and a ventilated. Brake, 2 pads, a disc and a ventilated is what we need. 1, 2, go away, and you can go away too. And ABS pump, what did that list in the brake section? That listed on the engine section. Have a look here. No? Yeah, it's listed there on the brakes. Perhaps I just didn't see it. Which again is more than likely. Let's go ABS just in case we have any in stock, which we don't. That's the module that we took out. He's at 82%, so obviously exceeds the 76. ABS pump is the only one we need. ABS pump. Dun dun dun. And that is everything. Okay, let's get some of these parts stowed away. Nothing in here, no, nothing in suspension. We'll get that when we get back to the engine bay. That pump. So we got these brakes, calipers smashed on every quarter there. Every side needed some love on some level or another. So whether it's the pads or the pads or the discs, or both, or the calipers, there was something that needed some love on every particular wheel. So, and it always pays to check around. Some people like to take them off and repair them while they're there. Others like to take them all off and repair them all at once, and then come back and put them all on at once. Look, however you like. There's no right or wrong way. As long as at the end of the day, as long as the repair gets done, the customer's happy and they pay us some money. That's what it's all about. All about the money. Money. Brake caliper on top of that. And at 77%, yep, just exceeds their expectation of the repair value. ABS pump will do once it's back on the ground. So what do people actually prefer when you're watching a stream like this, whether you're watching it live or whether you're watching it on the replay? What do you prefer? Do you prefer people to be like myself? Do you prefer me to be continually talking and saying something, or you just like to watch the footage itself? Let me know in the comment section. If you're watching this live, then certainly comment in the chat window. If you're watching this on replay, then let me know in the comments section. Just basically what you'd prefer. You'd like me chatting away, or just being nice and quiet. Brake problems, parts found. Look, again, we've been through that already. All have green lights across the board. All repaired up to that 76%, which is we need to exceed that minimum condition of 76%. Money spent on job 1,400 and change. Bonus for completing the task 700 and change, and gives a total earned of $2,820. What are we sort of feeling? No one's actually yelled out in the chat as yet on whether they'd like to see more repairs, or whether they'd like to see another restoration. Let's general engine control and repairs. Engine has failed. Look, I'm going to get rid of this Rhino Piccolo because I'm not a big fan of that one, to be honest. The DeLorean DMC. Look, if you're not aware, that DeLorean... Hello? Firmbie's Garage. Nobody there. Okay, the DeLorean DMC was part of the DLC from a while ago. If you haven't got the DMC as your DLC... Oh my god. How many letters can you have? Then yeah, let's pull that out actually. Take job, and it's always fun to look to work on the DeLorean. Now this is actually the plain DeLorean. There's two variants in the game. There's this one and the DeLorean Sci-Fi, I think they call it. Let's have a check in the car park. I reckon I've got a DeLorean site. There it is. Let's pull that out so you can have a look at it. Get out of that. Okay, here's one I prepared earlier. A DeLorean Sci-Fi. Now I painted it red just because, but that's a DeLorean Sci-Fi with all the bells and whistles and the trims and the quite famous flux capacitor on the inside there, if I can get a good angle for you. And that's the standard one, which is, I mean, pretty cool in itself, but before and after, if you will. Let's get rid of this out of the shop. Back to the parking. So you're out of there. Let's see what we need to do to this little customer. General engine controls and repairs. Engine power has failed. Now 48%, so it's not a huge repair value. So 48% is our repair value on this particular one. Knocking noise from engine bay. Now wondering whether we can get this through the test pass. Sometimes you can't actually start the engine, so it won't allow you to take it through the test pass. So see how we go. No, cannot start engine. Great. So we've got to do this the hard way, hey? Well, engine's not there. That's a great start. The engine's down here, you idiot. Rotary hoe. Okay, let's start with examination modes and see what we can actually pick up with some of these examination modes. We can't use that because it doesn't have an ABS port. Good to know. Let's see what this compressor tester finds for us. And that'll test things like your pistons and that type of thing. It'll give us an examination report in a moment. There we go. Pistons with conrods, 15%. Crankshaft is sexual intercourse as well. Piston with conrod, a couple of those that are absolutely knackered. We're looking at a 48% repair value, so A couple of those are going to be fine. So yeah, we're going to have to dig very, very deeply to get those pistons out. So might be a bit of a long one, this one. And let's go electronic meter to see what we have in regards to electronic wires. Starters knackered, fuel pump, mixture units with, oh, so the throttle. Okay, yep. So starter, fuel pump. So we're starting to get a bit of a list of the things that are no good. Have them there, couple there. The throttle, knocking noise. Haven't found that yet. Gearbox and damaged panels. Look, let's just rip all those panels off. It often actually takes me longer to, some of these panels are completely fine, of course, but often it takes me longer to go through it, say, oh yeah, not that one, but that one, or not that light, but that light. Just rip them all off. Come over here and see if there's any, the car's body frame is already fixed. We don't need to do anything to the body frame, which is pretty cool. And we're repairing those body parts, weren't we? 48 is our number, and see how many we can actually break. 58. Inventory by body panels. DeLorean DMC12, right headlight and left headlight. Right and left headlight for body shop. If we go DeLorean, left tail light, right tail light. Left tail light, right tail light. So that headlight is fine, the front bumper is fine. We should in fact be in position to pop most of those parts on. 100%, 59, which is fine, 63, which is also fine. A lot of these parts I took off just, because. These are the two that were completely knackered, of course. I'll actually take that rear bumper off. Rear bumper, 100%. No need. Leave it on there. He was fine. Front right fender, he was good. So that should satisfy all our damaged body panels well and truly, which it does. So we've got a lot of digging to do. As I said, there's pistons we need to get out and gearbox fault. So a lot of these engine parts we'll get out while we're digging out the the gearbox faults. Fuel pump. Okay. Anything we can dig out while we're here? There's the fuel pump, fuel tank, and radiator. At 22, so filter base 48. Just gets in there, doesn't it? Brake servo. I wonder whether we can. No, we can't. Okay. Well, I would have liked to have taken it to the test path, but you won't allow me to start the engine, so I can't. So, disassemble. 52. You can get back in there. Almost put a brand new one in then. Battery, disassemble. What's the battery at? 54. Back in there, sunshine. You're not going anywhere. Ignition core. Next. We need to go to disassemble, don't we? That'd be a fantastic idea. 14%. He's going to need some love. 49. As you can see, I haven't worked on this engine for a little while now, so I'm not as familiar as I am with some of the others, to be honest. The engine head cover in there looks a bit... Well, look, we're going to have to take all this out anyway. Remember, we need to take those pistons out, don't we? So we're not going to be able to take those out unless we've got all the crap on the top here out. and you know, the engine head, and now I don't know whether we need to take all this timing gear off. Looks like we need to take that timing cover off to get to the engine head. So here it is, steering pump. So that's out the way. Engine head cover, which as I anticipated we need to get that out. Missing a screw. Where is it? There it is. Dig and more digging. It's going to be a little bit of a long build, this particular one, because as I said, we need to get to those pistons, and to get to those pistons, they actually come out from the top there. Let's get rid of that wiring there. A little clip here somewhere if I can zoom in close enough. Oops, there we go. To get to those pistons out, we need to get all this engine head off the top here. Drop the oil as well, so we're able to get those clips off the bottom. Whoops, let's not forget these spark plugs. So what a decent repair, this one. Now whether we get to it, get to finishing this before the end of the stream, time will only tell. So if not, then we'll just save the rest until the next stream. Speaking of this, if you only just joined us in the stream there, this is a live shout out stream. If you are a content creator yourself and like other people to know about the type of content that you create, just let me know in the chat box. While we are live, let me know in the chat box, and after I have finished going talking about while I have finished going live there, I'll put your link in the description of this video when it gets uploaded to the interwebs. So let me know who you are, what you produce. I'll have to go into the car for that one. Let me know who you are, what you produce, whether it's you know, YouTube content, whether it's whatever it is. As I said, a bit of a shout out for you, so where I'm able to post a link in the description after this goes live. Well, when I say live, you know, live pre-recorded. You know what I mean. So I need to get those timing chains off and these cam gears. Once those cam gears are out, cam shaft. Now to get this engine head out, if I'm not mistaken, I have to take this exhaust manifold off. Yeah, which makes sense because the exhaust manifold bolts right onto the head, doesn't it? So engine head off. Let's do exactly same thing on this side. Exhaust manifold. Like so. Disappear. Camshaft. Engine head. Now you would think you'd better take the piston and conrods out like so, but oh no, you are mistaken. So we need to put it up on the lifter, pop the oil off, pop the oil pan off. Oops, wrong side, naughty. Go over this side. Oop, there it is. Yes, what we want. Now the smart thing would actually be to bring the oil pan over and catch the oil when it spills out on the floor. But I don't. So we just need to get these. I think there's one more over here, isn't there? Crankshaft bearing caps. Now once those bearing caps are released, we're able to get those pistons out. But while we've got the oil in the air, let's get starter off, gearbox off. Oh, okay, so that gearbox, yep, that makes sense. Okay, we need to take the those drive axles out to get the gearbox out too. Now to get those drive axles out, we need to take the tyres off. Drive axle on that side. Well, those shockies look a bit naked too. I wonder whether we can... No, we can't. Get those off. Because I can pretty well say that shocky, that's what the rear spring was 51, shocky was 54. That's actually going to be okay. Because our repair value was 48, wasn't it? Yeah. So, what did we say that spring was? 51. Spring cap, 52. Okay, so we've got nothing more to do with them, so we'll put those back in and leave them there. Drive shaft, where are you? There we go. So as I was saying, the idea of getting that drive shaft, those drive shafts out, so we'll actually get the gearbox out and locate these gearbox parts that we need to locate. Zoomy, release bearing, clutch pressure plate. So it looks like the pressure plate and the flywheel don't look too healthy. Let's see what that value is at 52. He's going to be fine. 22, he's going to need some love. And the flywheel at 0. Yeah, this is being 0%, it certainly is going to need some love. Still haven't found a part. Now the knocking noise from engine bay was actually the power steering pump, which is interesting. I haven't come across that one before. Oh, I mean, I've come across knocking noise in engine bays, but I don't believe it was ever the steering pump. In repair gearbox faults, we just found those, so we're still looking for engine control and repair. Still looking for another part in the engine. Oh, pistons, you idiot. That's why we took those parts off in the first place, wasn't it? Yeah, I know, you're probably yelling at the screen saying, it's the pistons, it's the pistons! Yeah. Piston number 1. 27, knackered. Piston number 2 is at 15% or also knackered. Okay, still not. Who haven't been found? Curiouser. Oil filter? That sounds... Yep. Was an oil filter. Alright, 48% is our magic number. Off to our repair table and see what we can repair up to that 48%. Quite a lot. There you can see the alternator, bearing caps, water pumps, they're all at 48. So as long as it's the same or above, we should be fine. Sort by condition, that's all by condition. Oop, bit of a glitch there. Don't know what happened there. Let's start with the spark plugs. 2, 4. No, these are fine. Just the 4, yeah. That's not. I mean, at the end of the day, they are pretty cheap, so it doesn't really matter about the spark plug. So for those, let's get rid of those. There, we've got an extra one to the bar by the looks of it, but that's fine. Gearbox, then the flywheel is you're going to need a brand new flywheel. And I'm surprised we don't add an extra flywheel, because I've got a habit of actually buying extra ones when I don't need them. So pop over to our tablets, into gearbox 1, flywheel. Get rid of that. Release bearing at 51%, which is going to be fine. That's our gearbox. Exhaust wise, we're fine. Brakes, we're fine. Running gear, we're also good there. Engine, okay, so let's break it down a little bit by filters. Fuel and air filter for V6. Filter, air filter V6, and fuel. Those two. I know there was some 2 pistons, wasn't there? Now I just put it in pistons just in case we had a couple laying around, which we haven't, so that's fine. Piston 2 of you little critters. There's a few ignition components too. That actually, I thought those ignition wires were going to be going to need some love as well. I thought we might have needed some new ignition wires, but it's only the ignition distributor rotor that we're actually going to need to purchase this time around. So ignition distributor rotor. Ignition distributor rotor, I need one of those. And go back to inventory, and that's it. So they're all fine. Cam gear. That's, so we need a cam gear. It's one of those. Cam gear for a V6, wasn't it? Cam gear for a V6. Starter for a V8. Starter V8. And serpentine belt B for a V6. Serpentine belt B for a V6, wasn't it? Serpentine belt B for a V6. And that should be all of it. The rest of it is 48% or higher, which is awesome. Look, I won't start putting these parts in. The reason being is I know my dinner is on the table. I can actually smell it, which is awesome. We have a fantastic wife that's just created dinner, and you may have heard the door go a moment ago, just saying she just snuck in and tried to be very, very quiet and tell me that tea's ready. So look, I want to thank you very much for anyone that's dropped by the chat during this stream, anyone that drops by the and watches this video at a later date. Again, as I said, this is a live stream shout out number 4. If you happen to have popped in during the live stream and in the live chat, you put your name down, then I'll certainly put your name in the description after I've gone and had some tea, of course. So thank you very much for dropping by. I really do appreciate your company, and I'll look forward to it in the next one.